when you're going into real estate, you got to have a goal.
Yeah.
If you don't have a goal, then don't go into it. You're sitting on a couple $1 million worth of real estate, take the cash every month and do whatever you want to do.
What's that equity picture look like?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
There's so many out-of-state investors and even a lot of local investors who are just like, I mean, I do it myself sometimes with properties I own where it's like, I want to have everything systemized. I want to be hands off. And if you're going to invest in real estate, at the end of the day, you at the very least, you have to understand, like, you own a real property that has a real person in it. And like there's just at some point there is a personal connection to what goes on there. And I think it's a refreshing philosophy that you have, that it's,
Well, it just, again, we briefly talked, when I started buying real estate, I bought it. I wanted to start a company with two of my kids, just something for us to do together. And I never got into it because any of us needed the monthly income. The monthly income's nice, right? But I got into it because I wanted to build a portfolio over whatever, 10, 15, 20 years. That would be a couple $1 million maybe by the time we were done with it. And if we wanted to cash out, that was our payday, right? So I didn't do it. And, again, Daniel gives me a lot of grief because when I redo a property, I put so much money into it that at the end of the day, it's hard to make any money because I put too much money into it. But again, I do it for different reasons. Yeah. But again, I think people have to decide when you're going into real estate, what are you going in? You got to have a goal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a goal, then don't go into it. And I think a couple of them, but I talked to a couple of young kids that want to get in the business and stuff like that, and they say just pros and cons. And I'm very honest with them because if you can't make money doing it, if you don't have a good end game, then don't do it.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to put money into it, and every month, you're going to be in the hole, and it makes zero sense to do it.
I kind of started thinking about it this way, and I put it to people like, if you want to treat real estate like kind of a cash vending machine, like I'm just going to put some cash in and hopefully take more cash out like pretty quickly. Right. It's not really a good avenue. Just go start a company or like make trades on eBay and stuff. Like that's how you do that. Like, yes, real estate's a real asset that grows in value, but I mean it's about growing wealth over time is what real estate is great for. Exactly. And I think and maybe it's because of some radical years of appreciation, and people talk about all sorts of different things online, that there's almost this pressure that I think a lot of young people that are considering starting in real estate feel like they just have to go and get flip a property, get this kind of incredible deal, or they have to have a really incredible level of cash flow to be doing it right. Yep. But in reality, like, no, start slow and build, make wise, consistent investments. Yep. That's how I've seen. Well, I mean, and you know better than anybody because we did them together. But I mean, I got lucky because I had a friend of mine who taught me, who on the rental side of it, I wanted to learn from him, and he had at the time probably like 8 or 10 units, and I finally said to him, I said, "Is there any units? Do you want to sell anything?" And he goes, maybe I got 4 units on Dearborn that I'll sell you, and I think he was just done with them. Yeah. They weren't great properties. In fact, they were horrible on the inside. He had never renovated. He was a guy that did very well in real estate, but didn't put a dime back into them. Yeah. But I also, I bought 4 units for $78,000. Yeah. And I remember. Yeah. And at the time I said, hey, look, between the three of us, the kids, we got about $50,000 to invest. Would you hold the paper? And he goes, yeah, I'll hold, so he even held $30,000 in paper for me for like 4 years or 3 years. Wow. Over time, I renovated each one. And you know the story. I mean, I don't know, it was probably 3 years after I bought them, we sold them to maybe one of your investors for like $230,000. Yeah. Right. So and that investor was happy with that. Of course he is, because and I know he's done work to them. Yeah. But those are great properties that it's one of those properties where it got a little stale because the same people had lived in those units. I mean, I think 2 of the people that had lived there for like 5, 6, 7, 10 years. I mean, Chuck was one of them. I remember Chuck. And Chuck lived there for like 20 years. And he was paying like $400 a month. I'm like, well, you got to get. I mean, Chuck's either got to come to the table or he's got to get out. And Chuck finally got out, right? But the place, he was a hoarder too. I was about to say, Chuck was terrible. My first hoarder. It was terrible. And so,
But there's a perfect example of a property in Indianapolis. I mean, you couldn't buy 4 units like that for $78,000 today or in the last 3 or 4 years.
I'm not sure if you could buy one.
You may not. I mean, you and I have many stories of buying, but that's where I got lucky. I mean, when I started, I bought that, and then I bought a property at 37th and Kenwood for $17,000.
Yeah.
So I got lucky. And, a couple wise people always told me, I mean, the only way you make money in real estate is if you buy it the right way. Because you'll never get out of the hole. If you pay too much, it's tough to get out of the hole long term, right? So if you buy it right, anybody can make money in real estate. And you just have to decide. I mean, the 2 properties we bought at Moreland are a perfect example. The guy wanted out of him, and we bought him right, and they're great properties.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's but it's funny. A couple of these kids that I mentor or whatever, I tell them all the time. If I knew today, if I was 52 years old when I started the company, if I knew today, even when I was 25 years old, and you have a lot of young people, I mean, like I would have bought a property every year from the time I was 25 to 35, or 2 properties a year. I would have, done whatever I could, because by the time you're 50 or 60 years old, you're sitting on a couple $1 million worth of real estate that you can retire or take the cash every month or do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. What's that equity picture look like?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, that's what I tell them. I mean, just figure out how to do it the right way. Just but to your point, don't jump in because, you want to buy real estate. You got to make the right moves to do it.
Yeah. You have to be in it. If you're 25 and because I mean, there might be a lot of 25-year-olds hearing this. It's like, and if you're thinking about jumping in,
right.
You have to be in it for the long haul.
No question.
You got to be in it to, I want to own, I mean, stuff could happen. You might make some moves and sell things here and there, but I personally believe that, whatever you're buying, like unless it is purely structured as a flip, the intent should be, I want to hold this thing until I'm 40, 50,
exactly.
Down 60 years down the road.
Right. Again, at 25 years old, you should be looking at what do I want to do when I'm 55 years old? I mean, and if it's a goal of retiring early, it's a great. I mean, owning real estate is the best thing you could ever. In my opinion, it's the best thing you could ever do. Yeah. Whether it's retail or commercial or just residential. I mean, it's a great opportunity.
Well, it's funny you bring up retirement. Like the number of real estate agents I meet that don't invest in real estate themselves, I always like you're nuts. You realize this is our retirement plan, right? This is all we have. Like we're 1099. Like there's no 401k for real estate agents unless you set up your own IRA.
Right.
But
that's your 401k right there.
Yeah.
I was with a buddy of mine who's a very successful real estate agent. He's probably, I don't know, he's maybe in his 40s. And 2 years ago when I sat with him, he didn't own a solitary property. And I said, when are you going to start? And I just saw him the other day for the first time, and I think he's got 12 or 14 doors.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's got a great financer. He's got all those things now set up in play. He's buying units all over. And it's fantastic because once you get going,
there's so many reasons, right? You can check out our full library of episodes wherever you get your podcasts.